So mediation is a way for people to take control over their lives and their decisions instead of throwing everything into the hand of a judge. And what I usually tell people in mediation is that you never forget the judge is a political appointment. Why would you trust your lives? Why would you trust probably the most important things that you're going to do in your lives to somebody who really has no interest in your outcome, first of all, and second of all, somebody who was appointed by a politician? Think about that for a minute. Think about that for more than a minute, because it really doesn't make sense to give that person who has nothing to do with you that much control over your lives. Mediation gives you an opportunity to have not only a stake in your outcome, but to have a real voice and to deal one-on-one with the person who's going to guide you through to that solution and that resolution of your case before hopefully you spend thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars on the process. You can take charge, you can show up, and you can be an active participant in deciding what the outcome is of your life. Mediation actually becomes part of litigation. In every case, the judges and the way the court system works is the court system does force mediation upon you. And at some point you have to go. Unfortunately, the way most mediation works is you don't go into mediation until you've already been in a litigation situation where you've had to produce tens of, sometimes hundreds and thousands of documents, where you've spent a ton of money, where you've spent a lot of time, a lot of wasted time, and sometimes where the court's already made rulings, some of which you agree upon, some of which you don't agree upon. So by the time you get to that forced mediation in the courthouse, you're already kind of angry. We're already drawn our lines in the sand. And it's often not productive at that point in time because now everybody feels like they should just see it through to the end. Mediation, the way that we do our program and the way that we gauge our program is we want to get the people before they've done that. Oftentimes in cases when it's a divorce case, oftentimes if it's just a regular family law case, we're doing things where people have to deal with kids, where even if they don't have to deal with kids, sometimes we're fighting about pets, sometimes we're fighting about businesses that we've opened up during the course of the relationship. The idea is to keep that firm and that relationship steady with one another, especially in issues where there's kids. Because when the lawyers are long gone, when everybody's out of your life, you still have to deal with each other. And what we do in mediation is try to help people understand that even though we might hate each other, even though there might be some very real issues as to why we're getting divorced or why we're ending our relationship, there still might be a need to have these parties still have some kind of amicable relationship with one another in the future. And that's what we do in our program. As far as what we can handle in mediation, every single dispute between the parties can be handled in mediation. Sometimes when we're in mediation, we do need the help of an expert. So just by way of example, if there's an argument over what the value is of a business or the value is of a property, or we need to figure out how we're going to divide up a stock account between the parties, we might need an accountant. So sometimes we do need extra help, but we can resolve every dispute. At this point, and the people that are in our program have so much experience that there's pretty much nothing that anybody can bring to us that we haven't handled before or that we know who to go to handle in the future. So every dispute can be handled in mediation. So as far as who can come into mediation, everybody should consider mediation. Even in my private practice as an attorney, I tell people there's really nothing to lose in mediation, but maybe a couple hours of your time. And that's worth it because you always learn something in mediation. But there's really no case that can't be mediated, even if we can't resolve every single aspect because there is a novel issue of law or because the parties are just too far apart on resolving something. We can at least bring light and at least get something done and something accomplished as to other aspects of the interaction or the dispute between the parties. If you have any questions about mediation, about us, about how the process works, please take a look at our video library and we'll hope that we will answer some of your questions, or go ahead and reach us through our website, give us a call. Very happy to meet with you.